Wind usually here is dead front because it comes from south-southwest. Slow tap, one downshift, 5th gear, take the speed through. I like the variability, it goes up and down, you know, it has really long flowing corners. Welcome back to F1 Fridays, and today, as you can see, we're actually at the track, at the Nürburgring. Nürburgring being one of the most legendary tracks here in Germany and in the world, right next to the Nordschleife. And today I'm going to take you around here with a real car. I'm going to take you around with the absolute missile. Before we get into this, top comment as always. If you get the top comment below this video, I'm going to send you a special surprise gift. So try and get the top comment now. And the question this week that you have to answer is, of all tracks in the world, and it can be MotoGP, NASCAR, Formula 1, whatever, the history, what do you think is the most iconic racing track in the world? Of course, certainly this one here is going to be one of those, but I look forward to your answers. So if you get top comment, you're going to get a special surprise present from me sent to you. And here we go now, let's jump into the hot lap. No, I crossed the finish line. I didn't lose too much time. That was the lap. Now we're going to go into the slow lap analysis. Can I do that?
Was that actually the hot lap?
That was the hot lap.
But you did cross the line backwards.
Yeah. No, it was a great lap until the exit of the last corner.
So it was world class until the last corner?
Yes. Okay, that was a world-class lap, except for the exit of the last corner, but I still crossed the line backwards. Can you remember a time when someone crossed the line backwards in racing? I think it actually happened in Formula E not too long ago in the race, last lap. But anyways, I'm just going to do one more quickly to show you what lap time I would achieve. And then we're going to go on to the lap analysis. Okay, that's it from the hot lap. I think that was a pretty epic lap. And now we're going to jump into the lap analysis. Alright, here we go for the lap analysis. So, first of all, arriving here, of course, in 8th gear. Wind usually here is dead front because it comes from south-southwest. So here, even though it's downhill, you can brake quite aggressively because the wind usually is from the front. Now, very important is to stay on the outside of the track and you do a last-minute flick just before braking. So you do a last-minute flick here because there's a curve just before braking. So you do a last-minute flick and then brake straight. Straight line braking, of course, for maximum braking deceleration, as always. So you have to keep the car as straight as possible. So it's a last-moment flick, boom, brake straight and in the widest possible position for braking. So you can brake here. Brake balance usually because it's downhill here and you have a bit of a track dropping away in the end of braking, so it's the middle position in the brake balance, not maximum forward because the front under rotation will happen in the end there. So middle position brake balance here, usually around 57. Okay, so now 8th gear, we're downshifting into 3rd gear here. You don't have to take the apex here because there's the biggest drop in the track is right at the apex. So like 1-2 meters over, there's less of a drop in the track. So yes, you're doing a little bit longer radius, but there's more grip on the surface because you're having to drop less on that drop there. So it's not critical to hit the apex. Exit third gear here, all the way out to the curb, of course. Then chop straight back because you need to get best possible run into this next one. Upshift to fourth, and then here is just a little lift, and then straight back on power. Fifth gear, sixth gear, and then this is difficult here. So now brake balance in the rearwards position because you're braking while steering a lot here. So the front under is going to lock a lot on the inside, so a little bit more towards the rear on the brake balance. And then very, very late entry here. Very late entry because the exit you have to stay left for that next corner. So late entry, late apex, stay left here on the exit, your third gear, you upshift fourth just before the corner, and then the best possible run with the widest possible entry into this, fifth gear by now, and then use all the track on the exit there, and try and get the best run onto the straight here. So here now, it's just a slow tap, one downshift, fifth gear, take the speed through, middle of the track, go a little bit left, and then braking very early again here, because very important to stay tight. If you go wide here, you get understeer, you never come back anymore. So brake a little bit early and soft, and then stay tight on the corner here. Fourth gear corner, and then early on power, use all the curb on the exit. And there we go. Now down the straight, of course. Now middle of the track here, and the same as turn one. So a last minute flick a little bit here to straight line the braking, brake when the concrete curb starts there, and then brake really deep, touch the apex on the entry, but still continue braking all the way to the middle of the track here, and then V-shape it. Even though it's a long round corner, you V-shape it, turn in, and then third gear here, and then accelerate hard back out. Over the curb on the exit. Now this next part is easy flat. Don't touch the curbs on the inside or on the outsides. Oops, I missed the apex a little bit there. Now this next one, you arrive in seventh gear, and then when the green comes there, then downshift into fifth. Take a lot of speed, use the whole track, and then chop back to the left as quickly as possible, and then here just lift off the throttle a little bit and touch the inside curb, and then use all the track, and then straight back on power. The exit is important here, of course, long straight afterwards. Okay, here this is easy flat, last chicane. So now brake balance forwards, because here you're braking uphill, and you're braking straight line for longest, so the front will take a little bit more, so brake balance forwards, but at the same time careful, because now the wind is from the back, so that can really unsettle the rear a little bit, so that's a bit, you gotta be careful with that, and maybe brake a little bit, a touch early, otherwise you're just gonna run straight on. So on a quali lap, that's very, very sensitive. So brake right after the 100-meter board, downshift into third gear again, late entry here, don't avoid the big red curb, and then just stay a little bit left, and here's just a little lift off, but try and keep the power on as much as possible for this part here to get a good run out of that corner. And then last corner again, a little bit of wind from the back, so you can get some oversteer on the entry there, so careful, don't overdo it on the entry. And then this is fourth gear, brake softly and very, very deep, Again, not so critical to hit the apex, you can be like 1 meter off because there's still grip there. But anyways, and then just try and feed the throttle in as quickly as possible and get a good run out here. And that was use all the curb on the exit, and then remember to hit the RS, and that was the end of the lap. Thank you very much. Now we're going to jump right into the Q&A session, where I was actually in the Nürburgring for that. Question 1 from Andrew. What do you like most about the Nürburgring F1 track? I like the variability. It goes up and down, you know, it has really long flowing corners, it has everything, you know, these long fast chicanes. It's a really, really fun track, so it just has a good mixture, and it's just a fantastic track. Question 2 from Stefan. Would you prefer to race on much longer tracks like the Nordschleife or shorter GP tracks? So, the Nordschleife surely is the most epic track in the world and the most exciting to drive. If it weren't for the danger, of course, racing F1 on the Nordschleife would be the most crazy and most unbelievable thing, but it's just too dangerous. So I would not be up for that personally. Let's see in the future if they manage to make it safer, then who knows. So till then, I think the shorter tracks are just better. Also because in terms of excitement, you know, more overtaking, things like that, more action for the spectators at the track, shorter track, I think more dynamic, so I'll go for the shorter track. Question 3 from David. What did you enjoy and hate most about racing? Enjoy most is really the thrill of getting that perfect qualifying lap, the thrill of doing a great race, and of course, crossing the line, winning a championship. That's just unbelievably emotionally powerful, and something that in business and in the normal life one can't find so easily, because it's so huge and so immediate and so big. Sharing that with all your friends, family, you know, it's so powerful. So that's especially. And what do I hate most? Just everything that's around it. I mean, for example, all the PR work and that's a good one, you know, and some of the interviews and things like that. But hate is a big word. I mean, we're so privileged, so I wouldn't say hate, but it's the less enjoyable things. Those were those things. Question 4 from Frank. What type of track were you best at and why? I think the type of track that I was best at was actually Monaco. I don't really have an explanation why, but it just suited me so well, and just ramping up through the weekend, you know, finding your confidence, finding all the special tricks and setting up the car perfectly from corner to corner for all that. It's a real driver's track, so Monaco just suited me really, really well. Question 5 from Philip. What is the best strategy for the pole sitter when a safety car period ends? The best strategy usually is to go before, like, well before, as early as possible, because then you still have a couple of corners to pull a gap before the actual line. But anyways, the most important is to take the guy behind by surprise. So you need to do something where he doesn't expect that you're going to go, and then that's the best way to do it. And that's what, for example, now Bottas did in Mugello. But of course, he surprised everybody to the extent that there was a huge crash, which of course not ideal, but he didn't do anything wrong. So fair play to him for that. Question 6 from Max. With Sebastian Vettel moving to Aston Martin, how much technical know-how can a driver bring to the team? That's an interesting question. So of course, as a driver, you have a contract whereby you're not really allowed to bring information over, but by word of mouth, obviously, everybody's just gonna slip a few things in, you know, and so you have everything. I mean, you have stiffness of the car, you have aerodynamic, you have weight distribution, you have cambers, so you have all this setup information. You also know who the biggest talents are within the team, which from the outside is difficult to know. And so you can report to Aston Martin, okay, this guy, they're the biggest talents, try and poach them, try and get them over to Aston Martin from Ferrari and make them direct offers. That's also a big advantage that a driver can bring to a team when he's moving over. Question 7 from Arnold. Which type of overtake is the hardest, and how do you practice overtaking other than in races? Overtaking is always really, really hard because you're doing something that's unusual, and you have to dive down, you have to you know, lunge in there, brake very, very differently, and important is to set it up. So lap after lap, if you do have the opportunity, you can see where the guy's weakness is, and you can build up to where your best opportunity is going to be. And then when you see, okay, this lap now it's going to work because I'm close enough, then it's good to adjust your settings as well, because your braking is going to be a big lunge where you lock up the front usually because you brake much deeper. So rearward on the brake balance a little bit and then go for the lunge, and so you just set yourself up for it, and that's the best way to do an overtake. All right, that's it from me today. I hope you really enjoyed it again. Remember, top comment. Give it a go. What's the most iconic racing track in the world? Let's see if you can get top comment. Good luck with that. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe to the channel to not miss out on the next videos. Thank you. Bye-bye.